welcome another person on stage now, somebody who also makes amazing music and has shared a stage many a time with Noel Gallagher. Let's give a round of applause for Nicky, please. Hamish, thanks very much.
Oh, thank you very much.
Interesting, look.
I'm not wearing one of those fucking things like you.
I'm in
never
Panto.
walked in years at the gig in my life.
They
ever.
are rock gods. Nicky thank you very much.
I've got so much respect for him for that. It's like, I think if he walks out with one of them...
It's good. I'm impressed. I'm just jealous. No. I want to do Panto at Christmas. I've got to start somewhere.
Get this man a mic.
So, when did you first meet Noel? I know that Richie and James went to see Oasis at TJ's in Newport.
Yes. Richie loved Supersonic, loved the lyrics. Just thought it was like Songwriter, real stream of consciousness. Yeah. Overanalyzed them, overanalyzed you.
That's what lyricists do.
But someone from the Enemy said to Liam, "Oh, the Manics come to see you in TJ's," and Liam's reply was, "What, do they want to fucking fight?"
Well...
And we were like, we just really like him.
I know. He did the same to Graham Coxon the night we met him in where the whole thing started. Graham said he'd travelled from London to Oxford to see us, which Liam found the greatest insult that I'd ever fucking heard. And I was kind of in between the two of them going, I don't see how he's called you a cunt there. Somehow, I just don't get it. He's got in a car and he's driven 50 miles to see our band, and somehow you've heard, you fucking snivelling northern cunt. Insane.
It's interesting. I mean, we had Hamish on who, he says it's only 16. I like the 24-hour story queuing for Oasis tickets. But, I mean, you then invited Manic Street Preachers later on to support Oasis.
Well, I remember first reading about the Manics in the NME when I was working for Spiral Carpets. And I remember that in the middle of Acid House and the Baggy thing were these kind of fucking... skin-tight white jeans, we're going to make 3 albums and then fucking explode our own faces off. We want to work, we're going to make the second album with Public Enemy and then join fucking Guns N' Roses, and we'll only be going for 10 minutes. And I was like, fucking hell, they're intense dudes, man, fucking hell. And, but then when You Love Us was the first thing I heard that I thought was fucking great. And it's when James...
Wasn't there a publishing party in Sony?
That's right.
You went up to James, you mentioned You Love Us.
Yeah.
And you said it was a really good tune, you really loved it, but the drums sounded shit.
Yeah, the drums do sound
shit.
They
do sound shit. They sound fucking awful. But that's why we knew you were fucking brilliant.
But it's the first video I'd ever seen, and you see it fucking shitloads now, where a singer grabbed the screen and kissed it. I'd never seen it before. And it was kind of like you see it shitloads after that. And but we always kind of loved them, do you know what I mean? Because they were completely different. And we were working class lads like us, and we love them. We went on tour with America with them, and they were at Knebworth and all sorts. It was great.
Well, they were kind of in the eye of the storm. I mean, they supported you in the UK, but then went to play with you in the States, and also played Main Road and Knebworth.
Yeah.
You got to share a lot of stages and also see a lot of different things that happened.
I did a bit of research the other night, and we started off in Cardiff CIA. That was the first gig we did, bar one, without Richie. And then we went to Dublin, did 2 gigs in Dublin.
At the Point?
At the Point. I remember you hanging out with Bono backstage. That's not an insult.
No, he's one of my best friends. He's one of my best friends. He's a fucking dude. This is another thing I loved about the Manics as well. I was the only person I felt in the world who would have the guts to say that the Joshua Tree was a fucking brilliant album. He was the second man to say it, and you know what I mean? They loved you too, and I loved you too, and everybody else in the NME world fucking loathed them, but they could never understand. They couldn't tell you why.
Unforgettable Fire, amazing.
They're all. I
Homecoming.
fucking love it all.
But then we did Loch Lomond, which was a funny one. When we were in the fucking Hilton in Glasgow, I was trying to get some kip, and they were trying to smoke you and Liam out all the time. So all the journalists were saying there was a fire. There's like twice 3 times a night. You'd have to fucking, you thought it was an earthquake, and everyone would get out and then go back in. They tried to take a snap of Liam and then go back in.
Unbelievable.
This was a little taste of the world that, in a way, you'd wanted. But you wanted to be the biggest band in the world with your first album and run away. And then
when we did Main Road, I was totally petrified. That was the audience.
Yeah. But I do remember. But I've got to say, lots of bands used to shit themselves playing in front of our audience, but they were fucking brilliant. Everybody that played with Oasis in those stadium gigs, their next albums all went to #1. All of them.
I was on about the crowd outside, though.
Fucking hell.
I thought I was going to get gang raped or something.
Yeah. No, they were heavy gigs, man.
And it's one of the best gigs I've ever seen, I got to say. I've never felt... Main Road just shook. I mean, I did think it was about to be demolished soon after, wasn't it?
It did get knocked down. It did get knocked down soon after, but...
It felt like it could have gone. The crowd were amazing.
That's the day that I felt that there was something going on with that generation of kids and guitar music.
Yeah.
Because there was us, them, Ocean Colour Scene, the Charlatans, and it was all of us, all kids of a certain age. And you only get those times once in your career where you are the same age as everyone else in the stadium. Because then they could, like now we're kind of old dudes, and luckily for us, our audience keeps regenerating itself. So you're older than your audience most of the time. But when you're all in it together in the same circumstances, and we had 2 or 3 years of that, that's leading up to Knebworth, and it was fucking magical. Magical.
Fucking love that.
Good for you.
I mean, I don't know how we cope with Knebworth. From Knebworth, for us, we were like, because I've never known a crowd so on it just for you, if you know what I mean. I just don't know how you put up the pressure.
I just don't, again, I don't think about it, I don't analyse it. It's just someone came in and said 5 minutes, and that was it. I remember, the one story I remember that day was my fucking roadie. I've since fired the twat. He had my amp switched on standby, and the first track was Columbia, so Whitey goes out and he plays the thing. And my first entry was going to play this fucking humongous, the chord that was going to shake the world, right? And I went to the front of the stage, and I fucking played this chord, and nothing came out of the amp. And I turned round, my roadie's arm was just coming out, and it just flicked it off standby. And I thought, when I sober up, I'm going to fucking fire you. And 15 years later, I sacked him.
But when we went to America, that was probably the best time for us. Because we'd come out of a pretty awful time. Richie had disappeared. Philip, our first manager, had died really young of cancer. And all of a sudden, everything was going good for us. Everything started selling 1 million records, Signed for Life, all this, and we were supporting them. But for them, it just seemed like, well, Liam didn't turn up for the first 2 gigs.
No, he went to buy a flat. Because we'd only had 3 months off before the tour started. Yeah. What was he doing then? Fuck knows. Eh? Looking at his desert boots at home going, they are the fucking bollocks. And then he said one night we had a massive fight on the tour bus, like a proper fight.
That.
He said it's the best. I remember him in the press saying it was the best thing that I've ever seen about Oasis. They fell off the tour bus with black eyes and bruised knuckles. It's like, fucking hell, man.
Well, I met Liam that morning, and he was obsessed with this Diesel shirt with James Bond's on. Do you remember? He kept showing me all the time. Going, look, it's fucking James Bond.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't fucking cancel the rest of the tour to go home and put it in his fucking cupboard.
Where all his knuckles were bruised. And it was, I'm bloodied. The first gig, when you sang the whole set, you fucking fronted up. That was one of the best gigs I've ever seen. You did this amazing version of Listen Up. I remember speaking to you afterwards, and it was, it's a fucking heavy thing to just sit out front and
I get that gig was, that whole day at that airport was, and when you think of it now, was insane. We were the biggest band in the fucking world, right? You don't get this shit with Coldplay or fucking, fucking And that's not an insult. This is just a fact, you know. You don't get this with fucking Mumford and Sons either. I'm giving the woman my fucking ticket as Liam's coming the other way, but not been thrown off. Which you got thrown off. You used to get thrown off planes all the fucking time. So I'm getting off, just like that. Just like I'm saying it to you. I'm getting off. What? I'm getting off. I'm going to buy a flat. What the fuck? What? As he's disappearing. Add insult to injury. They've then got to find his bag, sit on the runway for 2 hours, and I'm like, fuck. So Marcus is going, oh, don't worry about it, we'll cancel the gig. And I was like, no, I'm going to do the fucking gig. 17,000 people it was in an arena in Chicago. And, you know, we get there, and they're just like, sure, there was a fucking singer in this band somewhere on the fucking, you know. And our record company, from that moment, disowned us. We were signed to Epic, and they were used to, you know, Mariah Carey and all that malarkey. And then from that minute on, they were just like, fuck these idiots. Get rid of them.
When Liam turned up in Philadelphia then, the first gig...
He didn't even fucking get a flat. That's the best thing. That's the best thing. He said, he gets there, and it's like, so fucking... Did you get a gaff? Nah, I couldn't find one. Unbelievable.
That first gig though in Philadelphia, do you remember? He just singled out someone in the audience.
I just called him a cunt all the way.
Got his mic stand, tried to chuck it right up into the thing. And I asked him afterwards, why was that? He was like, I think he was a Brit. He went, yeah, fucking Arsenal t-shirt on. He deserved it.
Yeah. It's the kind of shit we're dealing with here. Again, you don't get that with fucking Mumford and Sons. It's like, they go over there and they're like, you know, it's fucking hell, we're so pleased to be here. And I was pleased to be there.
I was really pleased because we just played for half hour and then sat back and watched the fucking chaos. Fucking best tour ever.
It was fun.
I mean, we were all on Epic. We opened and then it was Screaming Trees with Mark Lanigan. I like Mark Lanigan, but he was in a bad way, drugs.
Yeah.
And Liam kept calling him Crazy Conkers, Barking Branches.
Oh, fucking hell.
Tiny Twiglets. It just never ended.
He threatened to fucking kill him, didn't he? Like, properly kill him one night on crack. It was fucking amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing. Not Liam wasn't on crack. This guy was on fucking crack, right? And he's going to me, I'm going to kill you, brother. And I was like, let's phone my man first, all right, before fucking... You know what I mean? He's just down there in catering. This shit actually fucking happened. It happened.
And you came up to me and you said, I think you must have been doing some bad drugs. You said, I dreamt about you last night. You were baking bread. It was at Jones Beach in New York.
I don't remember that fucking dream, actually. Yeah, nice. Multi-seed. Multi-seed loaf was. Bloomer.
When we got down, was it Charlotte, I think? Was it, or Virginia, when you left?
Where did I leave from? I had enough when Liam and Bonehead, and this is true, started arguing over a leather jacket.
That's right.
Bonehead, I'm not even fucking kidding. I can dress it up more than this, but this is what happened. Liam said to Bonehead on the back of the bus, where'd you get that jacket from? And Bonehead said, what's it got to fucking do with you? And it then descended into, it went from that to fighting. And I was like, fucking hell. I mean, you know, Wonderwall's at number 5 in the charts, the singles at number 5, the albums at one push it needed to get to number 1. One tiny fucking week of just doing good gigs and fucking no.
But you did a really beautiful sound check. I always remember it because it was kind of down south, and you did Across the Universe on your own acoustically, and I was just sat here watching. But you did look frazzled.
I was fucked.
You looked fucking frazzled, like, fucked. This is it, I'm off.
And
then we woke up the next morning.
I remember going home, and I got Concorde. Fucking Concorde. Once they fucking stopped Concorde and Top of the Pops, this country's fucked.
True.
Fucked. True. It's fucked. And I remember, this is before mobile phones, right? So I land at Heathrow, and I got a security guard, and I'm saying to him from BA, and I said, "Is there any press here?" And I opened the door, and everybody in England was there. Everybody in England, as my manager just shouting, "Don't fucking say anything! Don't fucking say anything!" And I was like, couldn't say anything. It's unbelievable.
Do you think you had before you did this solo stuff that you do now? Did you have flashbacks to that moment when you had to sing in front of 17,000 people?
No, because I didn't. I was doing it to spite Liam to do that, to show him that you're not going to fucking put it off the rails. I didn't want to be a singer, but as the Oasis thing got further on and I started to sing more songs, and then it became easy. It's a piece of piss now. It's easy, but I didn't think about that gig to do that then. I mean, it was stupid of me, you know what I mean? All we had to do was fake some illness, you know what I mean? And we could have got away with it, you know, but it's just like...
Nervous exhaustion.
Yeah, the usual, you know, fucking hell. But it's like, no, I'm going to do it, you know. It was just madness. Bonehead was always the voice was like, "Are you fucking sure you know what you're doing?" I was like, "It's going to be great. This is going to be the gig they talk about for fucking years."
We were gutted when he went home, though, because it was the best fucking tour we've ever had, you know. Just sat there, enjoying the sun, everything going well. For once, everything was going well, good for us. Not being spiteful yet.
No, they just released Everything Must Go, and it was fucking, you know, smashing it. And they kind of go to America, and it's like fucking, they're sitting back going, "Wow, this is like the best TV show fucking ever, watching these fucking idiots. Look at these."
And then at the end of the year, I think we did Shepherd's Bush, and Liam turned up.
It was the Forum.
And he's just wedged himself in the dressing room, you know, you just couldn't get rid of him. It's absolutely off his tits, beyond belief. I've never seen anyone like it. And we had a track, No Surface, All Feeling, and it's got that drum roll. And all he could say for literally 2 hours was, "You know that one, taka, 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 taka." And he said it about 200 times. Taka, 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 taka. And then we got on stage, and then all of a sudden, we were doing You Love Us last song, and I could see someone sort of lurking mysteriously, and really had a mad, like, fake fur coat on.
He had a big fur coat on, big white fur coat. Yeah, looking more like you than you, do you know what I mean?
He looked fucking amazing. This was my straight face.
We were at the gig up in the balcony, and like Liam had disappeared, and I was just like thinking, there's no fucking way he's going to let them go off stage without him going on stage tonight. Because he'd wore the coat, and if he's wearing the coat, he's going on stage. That's the end of it. And of course, on he fucking gets, you know.
And he just decked me.
Yes, it's just like...
I thought it was fucking brilliant. You know?
I was remember just fucking drinking, going, now you know what it's fucking like.
Revenge.
Wow.
So
he
it
didn't
was
just
a
walk up
brilliant
to a
year.
microphone and say, "I'm going to start singing as well," but no.
He was in no fit state to sing. He was just going, "Taka, taka, 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 taka."
That fucking drum roll. Poor Sean. Sean was like, what?
But it was an amazing time, you know, because obviously we'd been going for 3 albums, and we just come out of our, you know, commercially worst album with the Holy Bible, and just depths of depression and everything, really. And then that year was just totally glorious, you know, and there was something in the air.
There was, for those 2 years, 95, 96, was something else. And it's not something, you know, they kind of whittled it down and called it Britpop, you know, but I think there's one Britpop band and they were called Elastica, you know what I mean? The rest of it, we'd all been going for quite a bit, you know what I mean? Yeah. But there was just something. It was great to be young, like in your 20s, and you know, there's a little bit of politics mixed up in it, where the 20 years of Tory rule was clearly coming to an end, and it was just great. You know, there was just something about it.
It's probably the last time I felt optimistic.
Me too. Me too. Seriously, me too. It was fucking great, man.
Wow. Was that the drugs then, or was that?
A lot of it was the drugs, but no,
it
wasn't.
I got fucking paracetamol. That was it.
It's a powerful thing. So a joy and a hope in the air with the end of the Tory rule. Obviously,
so.
both things going well for you.
Well, there was a lot of working class bands as well.
Yeah.
who were just doing fucking amazingly well.
It was,
You could feel that.
wrote a piece recently in the NME about, and it really kind of struck a chord with me that why music sounds so middle class now is because, and no offense to anybody who might be middle class here, it's kind of because the working class people can't afford to fucking make music anymore. They can't afford sequencers and keyboards and rehearsal rooms and all that. And working class kids have kind of been pushed aside. My own theory is that when there was bands like us and these lot and Primal Scream and all that, and we were all on major labels, we were all fucking maniacs. And they were thinking, these cunts are in fucking, these are in charge of the share price here, this mob. And they're all drug addicts. And they don't give a fuck. And they've got to go. Seriously. And we all went. Now we're all on indies. Yay.
Did you have this kind of mutual songwriter respect? I mean, you spend a lot of time on your lyrics. You say you kind of look at the packet of cornflakes and rhyme flakes with make and...
Yeah, I simplify that because I don't want anybody to analyse it. I don't want to get into it. But I remember saying to you at the time, when I first heard the Manics, I didn't really take a great deal of notice of the lyrics. It's all about the energy for me, and it was great. When I first heard, what's it called? What's the big one?
Design for Life.
Design for Life. The libraries gave us power. You know what I mean? And that was kind of like fuck. Wow. And if anything, the post-Ritchie stuff hit me more than the Ritchie words. I don't know why. I don't know why that is, but there was such a moment in time for them, and that album is still. And the one after it actually.
We had that thing, like playing the Millennium Stadium on the night of the Mayor. That was our Knebworth. And just to think of us doing that, 4 kids from a pretty rough comprehensive in the middle of nowhere in South Wales. With at least Noel had that tradition of Manchester music. We had fuck all, really. Much as I love Badfinger, they weren't particularly in vogue. And I do generally love Badfinger. So to seize that moment, I think we all seized the moment as well, the best band. I do think Noel does himself a disservice as a lyricist. I think he's left some lines that have made people's life genuinely better and enriched.
Aww. Thank you very much. You're fucking welcome, by the way. But what was great about... Thanks for that. But it was the scale of shit back in those days. Yeah. It was the thing for those 2 years was huge. All the big bands were fucking massive.
They really were.
They're massive, like enormous. I mean, them playing the Millennium Stadium to, was it 90,000 people on New Year's Eve? Trying to get 90,000 people anywhere on New Year's Eve, anywhere to a gig. I mean, that's how brilliant it had become. And now we're all those people who were at those gigs are now parents now and graphic designers and fucking website designers, aren't they?
It's true.
Loads of graphic
I know.
Designers.
Interesting.
I'm really kind of feel privileged we were part of that era. It must have been a bit like what it was like to be a brilliant, like Zeppelin in the 70s, with that moment where you're completely in control. I don't think it'll ever happen again, really. No. The nature of everything, the landscape has changed so dramatically.
No, that kind of thing of the big bands and the scale of all that thing is dead. Once we seem to have bred a generation of kids who would gladly go to a coffee shop and spend a tenner on 2 coffees. Gladly do that, right? And then go to the toilet and piss it out in about 15 minutes, but will refuse to pay a tenner for a fucking album that might just change their life. That's, to me, is the fucking death of everything. Coffee. Coffee, Top of the Pops, and Concord. Fucked.
How do you view... both of you, how do you view posterity? How do you view... you've both had some amazing plaudits and fantastic fans and incredible acclaim. Do you see that as understandable? And obviously it's a given. because we're so great, or do you think I'm honoured to be associated with the McCartneys or the
the fact that we're still around says it all.
Yeah.
That says it all. And that's not because I particularly think that I'm great or he's great or anything like that. But the big songs and the big tunes have still got legs. Do you know what I mean? It's like I've seen these at festivals, pack out fucking tents, and and like people who weren't around at the time, are now getting the Holy Bible. It's a difficult album.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a difficult record.
It is a difficult album, but it sells more now than it did back then. I'm always scared of kind of legacy because you sound a bit like Tony Blair or something, but I think that you can look back. I look back and say 94. It's 20 years of the Holy Bible. That year there was definitely Maybe. There was the Holy Bible. There was Park Life. There was Dummy by Portishead. There was Dogman Star. Grace in Utero. What a fucking year for music 94 was compared to this year.
Sure.
Just undeniable. How many albums this year are going to get a 20-year deluxe reissue in 20 years?
This year, definitely maybe you'll get another one. You can trust me with that. Morning Glory will definitely get another 40-year release. If it fucking kills me, we'll bring a bit more wedge out of that bastard.
Wow. I mean, obviously, as somebody who plays new bands every single night of the week, I think there's a future, and I believe in the hope that
yes, but it's we're talking about the scale of
the scale of things is extraordinary. I mean, when you think about particularly that time when you were playing a lot together, is kind of amazing. And now with the reissues, with definitely Maybe and Morning Glory coming back out, and kind of seeing those in the shops again. I mean, has it brought that back? Do you think?
I try not to think about it too much.
Yeah.
I know I keep batting that one back, but I love reading other people's takes on it. When I read Nick's bit in the NME, it really struck a chord with me out of the working class thing. I was thinking, yeah, that's fucking right, And I like reading other people's memories and thoughts of it. But for my own part, I'm writing songs and getting on with the next thing, and you can't really. It's nice to putting the Morning Glory things together when we found this and we found that. What do you think? And you go, I didn't even know that existed, kind of thing. That's nice, but it's not. It would be worse if there wasn't new stuff coming out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we've only done these Holy Bible shows because we've had a good year with Futurology. Going to number 2 and brilliant reviews. We couldn't have done it if it was like an arse end, we need the money, let's do some Holy Bible gigs. Yeah. It just wouldn't have been any good.
I have to tell you a story about on the morning that Morning Glory was finished, and I got the cassette to go on. I was the last in the studio. I just finished recording Rocking Chair, the B-side, and I got the train wherever Rockfield is. What's the nearest town to Rockfield?
Maybe Abergavenny or Monmouth.
And I got on the train. James was sat on the train. Right, James Dean Bradfield was sat on the train, and he was like, "Fucking hell, all right." And I was like, "Oh wow." And he said, "Well," and I said, "I've just finished that." He was the first person ever to hear it. I gave him my Walkman and the headphones, and kind of sat staring at him all the way to London, and he kept going, "It's fucking earthy, isn't it?" Fucking earthy. I'm like, "Yeah, well, yes. That's a good thing, though, right?" And he was the first person ever to hear it.
Wow.
And we sat drinking cans of fucking bitter. Cans of bitter. It'll never happen again. It'll never happen again. Cans of bitter.
And Morning Glory is such a wild album. I mean, the production is so fucking oversaturated, raw. To your it couldn't fit on a radio anymore, if you know what I mean. No matter how brilliant the songs are. It's a fucking It does sound like.
I know Owen Morris.
Owen Morris is having a brain hemorrhage when he's mixing it.
Quite.
But that's what gives it its real authenticity.
Yeah, we didn't really. We spent, I think 12, 16 days recording that. Had a massive fallout in the middle of it. Fucking smashed the studio up. Fucking. And.
Can you mimic his laugh? Can you just do it?
Well, Owen Morris is, honest to God, it can't be done. Can't be done. It's like 2 cars repeatedly crashing into a wall. If I could mimic that, I fucking, you know. It was, yeah, we didn't, Owen wasn't really a producer. Owen was an engineer who'd been given the license to do what, I mean, we just set up and played and that was it. And then we went from there to Glastonbury, you know, and bombed. It was fucking brilliant. We went from there, we played, because when you do Glastonbury, right, it's like you do the fucking hits, right, that's it. And it was supposed to be the end cycle of Definitely Maybe. We were going to go, and somewhere between the studio and the gig, we decided to play 8 songs off a new album that nobody had ever heard of. One of them being Champagne Supernova, that went on for about fucking 15 minutes. Because we didn't work out how to end it. Right? We still haven't fucking worked out how to end it on that American tour. And it was one of the longest nights of my life on that stage. It was just like everybody blamed everybody else. It was fucking brilliant. It's your fault.
I know that feeling of bombing at Glastonbury as well.
It sounds amazing. I bet loads of people are saying, I was there, it was incredible.
Well, subsequently, yeah they were, but they weren't because they were all watching The Prodigy. So I counted them walking out, bastards.
But even Prodigy were a band. They were
Totally,
at the time.
they were on Knebworth.
Yeah, they were at Knebworth.
Yeah.
And the Chemicals.
Chemical Brothers
yeah.
as well. Chemical Brothers
Yeah.
had remixed us at the time as well.
And you had the Beatles tribute, what they call the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely
Oh,
Hearts
the bootleg Beatles, yeah.
yeah, indeed, yeah.
And the Prodigy, in the middle of all that thing that came to be known as Britpop, with this fucking
So confrontational they were as well. They didn't pander at all at Knebworth.
Yeah.
They just came on and it was like,
they smashed it. I've got a great photograph of taken from the back of the stage of Keith gone right out into the crowd, and you can only spot him in the distance because he's got green Mohican, and everyone else looks like Liam. And he's like singing Firestarter into someone's face who's got a fucking Fred Perry tattooed on his fucking forehead. It's a brilliant picture, though. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Indeed.
I think we have to wrap it up.
Thank
We
you
could
very
carry
much.
on all night. It's a shame, but only us can say we've been here. No, in the same way that at Glastonbury or Knebworth, no. But just us here tonight. Thanks so much for being here. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much.
Nicky, thank you.
Thank you.